I have what I call a plate method, and it's just simple because it works for me, But what I say is, when you have your plate, then you just simply look at it as like a clock, right? And if you just make a 9:20 on the clock, so one arm goes over to the 9 and one of the arms goes over to 20. Well, then you're going to take the second largest portion, of that, because you're going to make a line towards 12 o'clock too. And the largest portion is going to be your fibrous carbohydrates. So that's the green vegetables, right? So whether it be broccoli or Brussels sprouts or asparagus or pick your favorites. Like those are the ones that give us a lot of the micronutrients we need. They're the ones that are generally accepted as more healthy, and they're also going to provide the fiber that's going to be both beneficial in terms of its impact on insulin and also just through filling you up, right? And then I take the next largest portion of that and I devote that towards protein. And I think it's really important, especially for anybody active. The more active you are, the more you embark on trying to build muscle, you're going to need to have protein in every meal. So I have that. And again, we're talking cleaner sources of protein, but like you'll never find like boiled chicken on my plate. Like I ditched those days when I was 16 or 15 or 16. Like I realized after reading those bodybuilding magazines that maybe the low fat thing stuck for too long, but the no fat thing stuck for too long. But the boiled chicken and a steamed broccoli thing, that ended quickly for me because I'm not going to eat this forever. So I'll have some sort of fish or chicken, but it will be cooked in a way that's like, it's got maybe some sauce on it, or it's got maybe it's tomato sauce, it's anything to just make it a little bit more palatable and interesting without blowing the value of the meal. And then that last portion is where I put my starchy carbohydrates. And again, that's the part that some people will say exclude them entirely because they're not healthy or they don't work for you or they're not, beneficial long-term. For me, it's been a godsend. And I do think I'm like most people. My body craves those carbohydrates. I choose things like sweet potatoes, which is my favorite, or I'll have rice or I'll have pasta. I'm not excluding them, but I don't put them in the portions that you would generally find. You just even when you're feeling full, you want more. And that's the biggest danger to carbohydrates. So if you can develop some sort of discipline around them, then you can still enjoy them. If you can't develop that discipline for whatever reason, then maybe they do become something that you have to work yourself around or adopt a different eating style. And as I said, I'm never to the point where I'm not trying to be dogmatic in my approach. I'm always trying to say, this is how I do it. And I'm a believer in it, just like everyone else is a believer in their method. So even intermittent fasting, that could be, it's for people that are grazers. Like if you are a grazer and your real problem is portion control over the course of the day, but you can respond to a rule that says, no, you're eating between here and here, that you can obey that rule. Well, you're not going to be able to graze during the times that you might be doing additional damage. So sure, there's other hormonal benefits that people will talk about from that approach, but from a longevity standpoint and habit forming standpoint, if it's fixing the habit that you're breaking too often by eating throughout whenever you feel like you walk by food, it's good, and it works. And again, it's people will tell you can probably eat whatever you want to eat as long as you're eating within that window. But I think the more responsible people who are practitioners of that will say, no, you still want to avoid processed sugar and things like that. So, and that's just a mechanism of eating, not really a diet, right? It's so hard to control all of our behaviors, and food being one of the hardest, one of the biggest temptations for people. You got to learn how to control that for so long and then do it day after day after day. Whatever that mechanism is that works for you is impressive. And I'm a believer in it. I think that's how I feel. I just feel like people need to be able to be given some reins to be able to find what works for them. I'm okay with repetitive eating. I think more people are probably okay with repetitive eating than they think. I think that when you actually break down how many different breakfast variations do you have, there's more variety for dinner probably, but even there, you probably eat 5 different types of dinners, over the course of, a week or a month. Well, if you have that ability to identify the things that you like. And again, no plan is going to work if you're eating stuff you don't like. It's not going to work forever. Nothing will. You have to really enjoy what you're eating. As long as these variations of this meal are something that you really enjoy, and there are limited versions of them, the reproducibility of that is simple. It will take some time, but I do think when you tally up all the costs of medical care that are spiked by having poor nutrition, and you then offset that by what it might cost you to invest in a faster strategy like this catering trick or whatever it might be, you'd be best off figuring out a way to maybe reallocate some term health and longevity. If you can figure out your nutrition issues, if everyone listening to this podcast can figure out their nutrition issues, this whole world will be different. That is like one of the largest sources of disease and pain and discomfort, because people really struggle with nutrition.